Hello, hello, my friends. Another dedicated candle review for you today. This is Circus Candy Clouds from Caramel Sundays. This is one of the fragrances that will be returning in their restock, which is happening this Sunday, April 19th at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The vessel that I am reviewing in front of you is the 2-wick. It's about 18 ounces of 100% soy wax, but this will also be available in the 4-wick vessel. And I can't remember if this is also coming back in the 5-wick. Check the Caramel Sundays website, but I know for a fact this is going to be in a 2-wick and a 4-wick format. This 2-wick does retail for $31.99. The 4-wick goes for $64.99. Both prices include the cost of shipping. Also today, as I am doing this review, you're going to see it looks a little bit different. I typically put my candles on this cute little fake marble pedestal. But today I wanted to showcase what the candles look like in a hurricane, just to kind of give you kind of like a real life visual of how hurricanes can impact how a candle burns and maybe the performance that you might get from it. This specific hurricane I did purchase off of Amazon for around $56. This is the 9x14 size. They do have it available in some other colors. This does fit obviously these 2-wicks, but it does also fit the 4-wick format, as it also fits the Kringle 4-wicks, the Homeworks 4-wicks. I like it. I like the size of this candle, candle hurricane quite a bit. But anyways, let's talk about Circus Candy Clouds. We have top notes of sweet spun cotton candy, salted berries, mid notes of warm toffee, buttered kettle popcorn, and base notes of crisp apples and pink sugar. Now, funny story, you guys, I actually did not initially purchase this candle when we were able to put in our pre-order. And you know why? That buttered kettle popcorn note scared me off. I am not somebody who likes popcorn fragrances. In fact, last year in PR, I was sent that scary movie night from Kringle, and I couldn't. I don't like popcorn fragrances. And so that mid note had me very wary. I was talking to a couple of my candle buddies behind the scenes, and all of them told me, Katie, you're going to like it. I don't smell a ton of popcorn. It lends a little bit of savoriness to this fragrance, but overall, this has been a surprise hit. We all love it, and I think you should buy it. So I did go ahead and take the chance when this candle did restock in March, that like the actual restock day, I was like, okay, I'm going to go ahead and buy it. And little bit of a spoiler alert, I did repurchase it in another 2-wick in my April pre-order, because that is how much I love the fragrance. This is a great scent, you guys. If you happen to like fragrances, I would describe this as like if you're trying to think of a fragrance that a lot of people are familiar with, this to my nose is a cousin to Bath and Body Works Summer Boardwalk. My nose definitely detects some of that cotton candy element, but this is not overly sugary cotton candy. I think that those base notes of like a warm toffee and buttered kettle popcorn lend a slight amount of savoriness to this that I don't know how they do this, but they're capturing a little bit of warmth with a fragrance note or a fragrance accords like a cotton candy or like a berry accord that is typically something like, I would say normally cotton candy fragrances lean very sweet and artificial and sugary to my nose, and that's not what I'm getting here. I also think the other like sweet note in here that is just beautifully pairing with that cotton candy is the crisp apple note. Now, the apple note that I'm picking up in here, it's not the apple note that I get in like say their Winter Woods or Winter Woods. That was kind of more of like a spiced, like baked apple. It's not even the one that I have in like their salted caramel apple, but it's also not exactly as tart as the one that they use in their crisp country apple, if you're familiar with that fragrance. It is definitely a sweet, robust apple, but it's not a baked apple. It's definitely more of like a crisp, maybe like a honey crisp or something like that. It's definitely more of like a crisp apple. Again, not overly tart, perfectly sugary, maybe like a Macintosh or something like that. But I smell the apple, I smell the cotton candy, and I do at times pick up on that buttered Kettle popcorn. But again, it's not something that my nose is like, ooh, there's popcorn. It's more of like, ooh, there's a warmth and a savoriness that is blending beautifully with these sweeter accords. I really, really like this. Again, if you're somebody who is familiar with Summer Boardwalk, I know Bath and Body Works did not bring that back last year in a 3-wick. I think it might have only been available in a single wick. But I know that that is a beloved fragrance. And for me personally, you guys, this is a scent that I actually prefer more as like a summer to fall transitional scent. I typically go for a fragrance like this late July, early August, when I'm kind of over all of the beachy tropical coconut scents and I'm wanting something that's preparing me for fall, but I don't yet quite want, you know, full on spiced apple and pumpkin and all of that. This is a great like end of summer type of fragrance. Really, really love it. Now, let's go ahead and talk about the performance of this one because there are some quirks I've kind of noticed with this candle. So first and foremost, you can see I'm burning this in a hurricane right now and it has a nice deep wax pool. I have been burning this candle right now for about 3 hours in this hurricane and I am going to extinguish it when I get done with this review because that is a pretty deep wax pool. And you can see as I move this a little bit closer that the wicks are starting to get a little bit of carbon residue on the end. It's not altering the fragrance. I'm not noticing plumes of soot or anything like that coming off of the candle. However, I just feel like it's going to be time to extinguish this one. Here's what I am going to say about this fragrance. This is one that it takes a little while for me to get going. This fragrance, for whatever reason, I really don't detect it much within the first hour of burn. Even in this hurricane, it takes a while to get going. I would say about 45 minutes into the burn time, I start to notice it in the open concept area of my home. Now, I will say that I do notice it a lot faster when I'm burning it in closed concept. So if you're going to plan to burn this in an area that has lower ceilings, maybe a more like enclosed space, you're definitely going to probably start smelling it. I would say within like 30 minutes. But I will say that the intensity of this fragrance increases the longer that you burn it. This hurricane in particular is really working out well for me with this one because I will say that after about an hour and a half of having this candle lit, it was quite strong out in the open concept area of my home. So it's just kind of funny because I feel like for the first 45 minutes to an hour, even in a hurricane, I'm wondering like, where is the fragrance a little bit? Like I would catch like whiffs of it within that first hour, but I wasn't like getting the full on experience of smelling it. And then like, for example, this morning I lit this. My oldest daughter goes into school a little bit later than my younger two, and so I had lit this, took my kids to school, came back, and like I could kind of smell it a little bit as I walked through the door, but it wasn't something like super obvious to me. But then I went in, did my makeup, kind of did some other things in the bedroom, kind of getting like my day started. And that was probably like by that point, then it had been about like an hour and a half of this candle burning. And I walked out into my living room and it was like, whoa, this fragrance is here. So that is what I'm going to say is that I feel like with this one in the 2-wick particularly, you're probably going to want to burn it in a hurricane to kind of get like the max potency. I'm not sure how the 4-wick does without a hurricane because I haven't had the 4-wick, but I do feel like my route to go is typically I have just concluded that I like to burn candles in hurricanes, and therefore this candle in a hurricane, I'm going to give it a solid 8.5, with the caveat that it's going to take at least an hour to an hour and a half for it to reach that potential. So don't light this one. If you want your house to smell like this and you're going to be having company over or something, make sure that you allocate enough time to kind of let this one start to come to life and fill the space. Or truthfully, you guys, that might just be the experience in my own home. Your home might throw a little bit differently, but I am finding that in my home, that's just kind of what my experience has been with it. So overall, you guys, this candle does get 2 thumbs up from me. I do really, really enjoy this fragrance. And yeah, it's definitely a winner. I did repurchase it. It is one that I'm going to extinguish, and I'm going to go put it in my candle closet, and then probably bring it back out again in late July. I will also say that, I know that there are some schools of thought, and everybody's entitled to their own opinions, but I think there's a lot of people who think like I shouldn't need a hurricane or whatnot. I personally look at, I think it really comes down to like what the majority of your candle collection is, what your preferences are in terms of soy wax, or if you're trying to prioritize buying candles that have cleaner ingredients or whatnot. Um, for me personally, you guys, I am at the point where I feel like a hurricane is a good quote unquote home fragrance investment, because I prefer 100% soy wax, and 100% soy wax needs to get hot in order for it to start throwing. It needs to be at a little bit higher temperature than, say, some of your parasoy blends. So for me personally, you guys, I don't mind purchasing a hurricane. Truthfully, this one in particular, I really kind of like that. I feel like the flames are protected from, even though my children are not really young anymore, who knows, who knows what could happen. I like that the candle is protected. But again, those are just my own preferences. So I do really enjoy this one. I do give it 2 thumbs up. But again, with that little caveat that it does take a little while for it to get going, at least in my space. So I can't remember if I disclosed this at the beginning. Fun fact, you guys, I actually started filming this review and realized I didn't have my microphone on, and then I started filming it again, and I had my windows open, and somebody was out there with like a weed whacker. So this is hopefully third time's the charm. But I did want to say that I am a brand ambassador for Caramel Sundays. This was not sent to me free. They don't send free product. They don't send PR. I don't have an affiliate code where I get commission based off of your purchases. Basically, being part of their ambassador program just means that I enjoy the perk of being able to have early access to these candles, and I'm able to purchase them at a discount. So wanted to put that in there for you guys. But anyways, let me know in the comment section down below if you purchased this one in March. How are you feeling about it? I know that it's been pretty well received. I know that there have been some people that haven't had a good experience with it, but mine has been. But again, I did notice that little quirk with this one about that needing an hour to really kind of come to life. So who knows? But yeah, let us know in the comment section down below what you think of it. Again, if you found this video helpful, please hit the thumbs up button. Consider subscribing if you are new. I do want to say thank you so very, very much for spending your time here with me today. And until my next one, I hope you all go out and have a very blessed day. Bye.